day, everyone. My name is Barsha Karki, and I thank you for tuning into All About Data, where I chat with industry experts around all things data, whether it be in their personal lives, their career journeys, or their everyday job. We discuss the use and impact of data in the various aspects of their lives. I'm very excited about our guest today, Ellie Sweeney, Chief Operating Officer at Vocus Communications. Welcome, Ellie. It's so great to have you with us.
Hey, look, it's great to be here. And I'm not sure that I'm an expert in data, but I am someone who loves data. So I'm really happy to be here and to talk to you today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your time. As the CEO of Vocus, what's keeping you busy today, Ellie?
Well, I think I shared we've got our full year results next week, so that's always a busy time, and obviously working in with the board and the audit and risk committees and a whole heap of people. COVID, like everybody, is keeping me incredibly busy, and it's keeping me busy from a couple of things I mentioned. Obviously it is changing the way that we work. It's changing the way our customers work. It's changing the way networks are used. It's changing the security posture globally and obviously within Australia. It's changing potentially what we think is going to happen in 12 months time, in five years time. I read an article recently which basically said, leaders who were out there talking about massive transformation programs of work and 10-year programs and all this forecasting with COVID, actually it was, how were you going to set up this year for success within your business? Because a lot of businesses, as we're seeing,
some businesses are going month by month or quarter by quarter.
How are they staying in business? So again, just having that clarity around your revenue streams, your cost lines, how are you motivating your staff in a very different environment? And what's it meaning for your customers, and how do you then bring that customer demand or that customer experience back into your organization? So for me, there's, it's a fascinating environment to be in. And I think the great thing that we've seen now is just a level of adaptability and resilience.
Absolutely.
So many Australians, so many people globally have been able to show. I mean, I think we've been able to make changes in our business that I probably would have thought would have taken us a year to do. We've done them in 2 months. Or getting a contact center up and running in Manila and having people work from home. And we've done that in 3 days. They were not things that I think that we had expected to be able to do. So I think in general, being able to work in environments where people have been adaptive, resilient, innovative, unbelievable innovation has been fantastic. So they're just some of the things keeping me up, but they'd be no different than a lot of people.
Yeah, but what a fantastic result I know in these unprecedented times and sad times and all the news and everything, but then to see the company that you work with and the teams that you work with bring about all of these results in such a short time and doing fantastic. It must be so fulfilling, right? To see them so much empowered and delivering.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think in my career, the people I've really loved working with, the people who as leaders thought about their business first, their business unit second, and themselves third. And that idea of how you lead and how you invert your leadership is for me really critical. And they're always, I think, attractive people to work with. And for me, being able to see the team I work with on a daily basis being able to achieve so much in really challenging times, in people really collaborating, coming together incredibly quickly. And people just, if things previously might have needed to be 99% right or 100% right before we do something, and everyone just going with sort of an 85% to get something in and do the right thing for customers, right thing for our people, right thing for our shareholders, then that approach has been fantastic, and we've been able to leverage it really effectively.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, that's amazing. That's amazing to hear. And, Vocus is quite well known, and to see that, you're implementing all the security measures in place, probably upgrading your networks because there's so much demand from people working from home. The bandwidth's probably just gone off the roof, which is good for business. There's always plus and minus of all situations, I guess. But that is in a way supporting the remote workforce, right? Like if we didn't have the telcos upping the game, it would be more challenging because we wouldn't be able to support that kind of workforce at the moment.
Look, most people, I mean, you know, you listen to people like Simon Sinek in that idea about purpose, and you know, you think about sort of, you know, he recently gave a really interesting, you know, commentary around, you know, classic kind of Milton Friedman 1970s 80s corporations to the original, you know, I suppose idea of capitalism from Adam Smith. The interesting thing for me was just that idea that the purpose, you know, people over profit, purpose over profit. It does actually bring, you know, the result. And I think for us, you know, for a lot of us in the industries that we're working in, you know, working in an environment where you do provide telecommunications for Australians, so that we are effective working from home, so that we are actually effective and still keeping Australia running. You know, I think that NBN's done an amazing job on that, and there's been some amazing leadership that's come out of that, and the telcos obviously working closely together. Then overlaying what does that mean from an SD-WAN perspective, overlaying the security requirements, overlaying what that needs from a UC perspective, the fact that everyone's, you know, we're on Zoom today or Teams or whatever, it doesn't really matter. So just being able to manage that new environment really for the success of, I think, something that's hopefully a little bit of a higher purpose has been great to be part of. And, you know, I just feel really lucky to work in this industry.
Absolutely. And so, you know, you obviously so many different solution teams, so many technology teams. What's your what solution and technology impresses you most?
Oh my goodness. I suppose it's not even a solution or a technology. It's where technology actually provides something really interesting. And, you know, I remember interviewing someone a while ago who was at Tesla, and this guy said, you know, the great thing about working at Tesla was that the day you pick up the car is the dumbest that car will ever be, because it's smart and it will continue, you know, with a lot of the AI and the ML technology today, that it will actually only get smarter in terms of how it helps you live your life. And look, I mean, obviously if you're working at Tesla, you don't have to say that, but you know, there's something really true about that. So for me, I think that the technologies that, you know, do drive something that's smart and innovative and an outcome that does actually, you know, improve people's lives or their purpose or give them more time back in their family, or has, you know, takes out that repetitive workload. I mean, at the moment, I just came off this call to do a session about some RPA that we're looking at. You know, taking out that manual low value work so that people can hopefully have a more interesting career and day-to-day work life. For me, that's really exciting to be a part of environments that want to do that. And I think, you know, if you like technology and you like what it can do for people and citizens and countries and organizations, then that's the thing I'm really excited about with technology, not anything in particular per se.
Absolutely. I mean, Tesla, what a fantastic company, right? And with all the smarts that's built in, and you touched slightly on AI and ML kind of thing. In your role, you know, you deal with so much data, you know, it's probably cross-functional working, looking at historical data to foresee, future see, you know. How are you using that AI, ML kind of, are you using AI, ML in your everyday job, and what else is there for you to look forward to in that?
I think for me, look, we're early days, so it's kind of a nice position for me to come in, and hopefully, you know, there's been some pretty good learnings from other organizations as well in that sphere. The thing for me around data, and it keeps coming back to some of this, is the legitimacy of the data and the accuracy of the data. You know, I work for a challenger brand, a challenger, you know, DNA organization, which has basically come about with lots of just businesses being bought and brought together, and a lot of M&A activity. You know, the great thing about M&A is obviously there's always a lot of synergies in that stuff. And, you know, I've been on the business cases where we've written some fantastic synergies. Oh, if we bought this business, it'd be amazing. The hard thing is, once you do buy the business, is getting the synergies. And you're not going to be surprised that unless you've got really good data flows, you very rarely can get the synergies that, you know, everyone promised when a board signed off on that business case. So for me, we're really at, you know, making sure that we've got good, clean data flows across multiple systems. And you can imagine I'm spending a lot of time with my team just simplifying, consolidating, being really clear on those data flows across multiple systems and BSSs. So getting to that foundational aspect to be able to then utilize a lot of the RPA capability and AI. And we're really at that stage now, but I think it's just continual. And look, that's, you know, any larger organization, and we're an ASX, you know, 100 company. But globally, when you speak to people and you say to someone, so do you have good data? I don't think I've ever heard anyone say they have fantastic data outside of, you know, the OTT players. So anyone who's got a bit of incumbency, legacy, clearly dealing with that tech debt and being able to deal with that in a smart way is really important. And for us, it's getting that just table stakes around data to get us into a position where we can actually digitize more effectively and obviously use a lot of the AI and ML technology available.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess Vocus in the last few years have done quite a lot of M&As, and it would be disparate systems, and you'd probably, you know, in your role, you're interested in data, but then in the back end, there would be a lot of digitization, data center consolidation and systems integration, all of that, right? And this is the kind of conversations we have with, you know, NetApp has.
I could give you a job.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Everybody, I think outside of those really big OTT players, which again just have had fantastic data and analytics for many, many years, and that was the original engineering ethos of them. You know, for a lot of other organizations, it is trying to get to that position, and so they are all of those data flows.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is really refreshing for me to hear, because, you know, we obviously, when we go and talk to customers, we talk about what environment they're in, you know, whether if we're talking a CXO, they don't care about where the data sits. They want to make sure it's there. When they need it, it's there, irrespective of how many mergers and acquisitions they've done over the years. You know, that consolidation and just seeing everything in one probably bill instead of, you know, 10, 20, manage that, all of that, right? So, and especially with the use of hyperscalers as well. So it's really refreshing for me to hear, you know, an Australian telco company using AI ML on that journey, plus, you know, managing that acquisition that you've done and streamlining it to make sense of all of the data that's available to you, right? So that you can make better business decisions. And it's fantastic for me as well. You know, my satisfaction in my role is also because I help other customers like yourselves, you know, to who are on that journey, especially in AI ML these days. So it's fantastic. It's fantastic to see that.
The only thing I would say, all CXOs care about one thing: it is the data sovereignty. So that
exactly.
They are interested in where it's stored. I can tell you for sure. So
that's right.
Depending on your custom bases, and clearly, you know, that's really important.
Yeah, and then, you know, if somebody simplifies that GDPR kind of compliance or other standards, which NetApp does, it's even fantastic, isn't it? Like, you know, if you can go to a vendor and they're like, yeah, we'll make sure everything is in country, and it, you know, will actually tell you if something doesn't look, you know, if something looks fishy, we'll tell you that it doesn't qualify or to certain compliance. So that's fantastic. If you had one thing that could be better in the data that you get today, you know, in your role that you already have, what's one thing that you think could be better? And you don't have to go into specifics, just, you know, I'm just curious, because you're so much into data.
Yeah, I think the thing that could be better is probably just, you know, again, that integration and the synthesizing of data into those key metrics or the key trends that you need to be able to do your job. And that's to do your job for, you know, again, your customers, the company you work for the environment you're working in. And so really around those decisions that you make. So I think, you know, like all of us, still huge amounts of information. We've done some good work in terms of being able to synthesize that information. I think we can still do a better job at getting that into you know, better formatting, better optics, and
Yeah.
obviously real time where we need it. So still more work to do, and I think there always is.
Yeah.
But again, I think that ability to be able to synthesize it even more than we've done is
Yeah.
going to be really critical.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for those insights and the conversation, Ellie. It's fantastic. You know, it's great to hear from role models like yourselves who we can look up to. You know, my peers, the industry leaders, other leaders in sales and operations. You know, and people who are just starting in their career in technology, IT, data science, engineering. You know, and especially for women in tech. There's not many role models, so it's really fascinating, inspiring to have you, and for anybody listening to this conversation to say, hey, you know, we've seen people achieve, we've seen other women achieve this much, and here's a pathway for us. So that's fantastic, and thank you for your time, for sharing your stories, and the energy and liveliness and so much passion that you bring into the conversation. Thank you, appreciate it.
Hey, you've been incredibly generous, and I don't recognize that person that you're talking about, but look, thank you. It's been great being on the phone with you today and being on video with you. So huge thank you, and you know, congratulations on what you guys are doing at NetApp as well.
Thank you, Ellie. Speak soon.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.